Wireless LAN Weekly, Episode 34, 5 Ways to Stay Current with Wireless LAN Technology.
Welcome to Wireless LAN Weekly, a podcast focused on the wireless networking professional. We aim to educate, inform, entertain, and inspire. Get ready to listen and enjoy. Now to our host of the show, Keith Parsons.
Well, hello and welcome back to Wireless LAN Weekly. Today's episode is going to be on 5 ways to stay current with wireless LAN technology. Sometimes students or clients ask how they can stay in tune with all the changes and all those things that happen update-wise to wireless LAN technologies. It's a really fast-moving target. In the past, perhaps you might have went to an annual trade show like Interop or Comdex, or just read the trade magazines. But in today's ever-moving world, you have to find more timely ways to stay on top of what our industry, and our industry's moving quite rapidly. So in this week's episode, we're going to go over 5 ways to help you stay in tune with those changes and updates to your chosen field. Well, the first one is Twitter. My first recommendation, be on Twitter. I have lots of people who come to class and they say, how can we track you down? Well, I'm on Twitter. I tweet all day long, every day. There is so much you can learn and find with Twitter. One of the things I like to tell people about Twitter is in comparison to Facebook's a place where you can stay in contact with people you already knew, but you might have lost touch with. Twitter, on the other hand, is a place for you to meet and connect with folks you don't know, but you would like to be in contact with. I've previously wrote a blog post earlier in the year on Twitter, What's All the Fuss About? And there's a link in the show notes, so you can go back to that. I recommend you go and read that. In addition, there's some other helps to help you get started. First, always use a Twitter client. Starting with that Twitter webpage, I started years ago on Twitter, and that's the only thing I thought there was, and it was pretty boring, and I didn't know who to follow, and I didn't even know what to post or to say. And I thought, Twitter was just to tell people what you had for lunch, and it's kind of boring. So read my blog post. It's got a lot of information about how you can use Twitter to help you in your career. In addition, there's a follow list that I keep on the Wireless LAN Professionals website, and you can reach it by going to WLANpros.com/follow. Another way to find other like-minded individuals that are in our industry would be to search on a hashtag of #Wireless Wednesday. Every Wednesday, folks in our industry recommend other Twitter users that you might want to follow. Sometimes these are folks who are already well-known and are tweeting every day, people you might want to follow because they have good information. Other times, the recommendations on Wireless Wednesday are for some newbies. People who are just getting started and are requesting folks to follow them so they can kind of get them into the crowd and join part of the community. So either way, first option is to use Twitter. Twitter will help you track things down. I find answers. I find camaraderie. Twitter is a great place to go to interact with others who have your same ideas and ideals about working with wireless networks. The next one is blogs. Weblogs, or blogs for short, are fast, easy ways that people can put posts up on the internet without having to resort to HTML or CSS coding. They're really popular. They're growing. There's, I don't even know the numbers anymore, hundreds of millions of blogs available, but you might want to find those that are interest to you. So again, I've put a web page up on the wirelesslandprofessionals.com website, and it's just WLANpros.com/blogs. And there's a list of blogs that I follow in the wireless industry. Well, some of the ones on the list are wireless LAN blogs, but I don't necessarily follow them all the time because some of them kind of gone stagnant. Most of the blogs that are on the list fall into one of the following categories. One is a vendor blog. Some of these, the vendors get all excited. They want to get into blogging, and they post 2 or 3 times, and then they kind of stop. Those are also listed on there. Other vendors are really good with their blogs, and they're continually posting blogs almost on a weekly basis, some of them. Good place to learn. Realize that they're a vendor site, and they'll be making vendor comments, but there's also a lot of good information there. There's also individual blogs. Experiences, tips, tricks from individuals in our industry. Those are great ones to follow. And there's some on the list as well. There are study and exam type blogs. So for people who are doing exam prep, working on the CWSP or a CCIE, they kind of document and journal their progression through the process, and their learning can be shared by you and you learn as well. There are also news blogs. There's a couple I follow specifically in the wireless LAN industry that you can see. Some are even daily or multiple posts per day about the new and upcoming things that are happening. And the last category is kind of a special category. I call it a blog aggregator. And the CWNP group has a list of blogs that they follow. And then they have an automatic little system that as a new blog comes up, they will post and tweet it out. So you might want to follow this at CWNP and follow their Twitter posts, and you can see and update other blogs that are there. So some of the blogs that I like to follow on a regular basis. Well, first, my criteria. I like to follow blogs that have fresh new content, new things that I might not have thought of. It doesn't necessarily have to be about wireless LANs, but most of the time that's what I'm after. I don't really care if it comes from a vendor, as long as there's not too much vendor bias. As long as those two things are there, I'm into watching them. So some of the ones that I like to go through, and these are on the show notes if you want to go click. There's links there. There's also links under the wlanpros.com/blogs, and you can get them there. But the first one's Devin Aiken's Aerohive blog. He used to be part of the CWMP group, was the CTA over there, and now is with the vendor Aerohive. But I like his humor and his take on the world, and so I like to follow that. Another one here that's on the top of the list is one called WLAN Book. It's run by a guy named Zabe, and Zabe has a commitment lately. He even posted it up there that he was going to have 90 blog posts in 90 days. And it looks like he's staying pretty consistent with that. Kudos to him for coming up with a daily post about things that are going on in the industry. So WLAN Book, he's got a lot of stuff going on there. Plus, he has some cool software you might want to download and play with that they put together. The latest version is something that works with Windows 7, and you can turn it into an access point and hit his site. There's a lot of information you can find there. He also has a really fun where you just put in your MAC address of your AP, and it'll come back with the GPS coordinates of where you are. Great stuff over there on WLAN Book. Steve up in Canada has one called Wi-Fi Edge, and he's also an instructor, and he adds some pretty good information there, and he kind of comes at the world from the Linux side, and I'm not really a CLI kind of guy, but Steve is, and I can learn a lot from him, so I like to follow his blog. Another instructor, GT Hill. Gene has a great blog and a website, but like Devin, he's moved over to Ruckus now. By the way, I also follow the Ruckus Room blog. But GT's old site, it's still there. It's very beautiful and has really good information, so I recommend hitting that one. Of course, Laura Chappell. Laura and I traveled around the country for many years. We produced her hands-on labs that she sent out on packet analysis, and she always has a great insight on how the packet level things work. Not always on Wi-Fi, but also a good one to follow. Maru has a signal to noise blog. Jim Gear over at Wireless Nets has lots of information you might want to follow, as along with Joe Bardwell of Connect 802. His site has full of lots of information. Some of these aren't necessarily timely that they come out new, but they have boatloads of things you might want to go and download and read offline. Some hacking blogs, Airtight's blog. Douglas Hayter has one called the Wi-Fi Jedi, and as a Wi-Fi Jedi, he posts some fun stuff up there every now and then. George Stefanik has his journey, his My 802.11 journey, and that's a good one to follow, as well as Jennifer Huber's CCI study blog. And so for blogs to look at, there's a list on the show notes. There's the blog page you can go pick out. Lots of blogs to follow. I'm sure there's lots of other blogs, and I know for sure I've forgotten many people who have blogs. If they not on the list, just drop me an email, and I'll be glad to add them and push it that way. Next item, forums. CWNP forums been around for a long time, and it's a good way to get involved, and you can go on and ask questions, answer questions, and share pertinent information that's important in you and your industry. So CWNP, Air Magnet has just started a new one called Air Magnet Community, and there's some forums up there. If you hit any of your vendors, Cisco, Aruba, Trapeze, they have forums dedicated to helping their customers. It's a place where you can go and ask questions and get answers. The next technology to look at is something called RSS, Real Simple Syndication. And in the show notes, I put a link to something called What is RSS? So rather than go through the details of what it is here on the Wireless LAN Weekly podcast, I just want to link you over there. If you want to learn about what RSS is, head over to whatisrss.com. It's a simple way that you can have access to blogs or websites, and whenever there's anything updated, it can get sent to you. The best part about RSS is you can get RSS readers. I happen to use Google Reader, but on a daily basis, I just have to go open my Google Reader, and all the blogs that I want to follow, anytime there's an update, I go there. I don't have to go and touch each individual blog or go to each individual website and see if anything's new. The RSS allows that to happen automatically. You can also RSS podcasts. I happen to use iTunes for pulling down most of my RSS feeds for podcasts, and Google Reader for all the text-based ones. And the last one on our list that we're going to talk about today is Google Alerts. I got turned on to this a couple years ago, and it's nothing really more than an automated search in Google. But you don't have to do it. You don't have to think about it. It's free, and it'll allow you to track keywords. So it's not always as timely as you'd think. Sometimes I've seen things come up in Google Alerts that are a week or two old. But many times it's the first place I see something on a brand new announcement that I wasn't even aware of or thinking about. It's easy to use and set up. You just pick up some keywords. You pick the keywords you'd like, and you tell Google what they are, how to follow them, how often you'd like to be updated, would you like them to be emailed to you, etc. And then voila, every day, or whatever your time period happens to be, you'll receive an email with links to all the websites or blogs that were triggered by your keywords. Now, a lot of times you'll get things that really don't pique your interest. I'll see something there that's, well, wow, what is that? And I read in the document, oh yeah, they said the word Wi-Fi here, that's kind of useless. So a lot of times it's just a quick, you look at the screen and go, nothing I want to look at. But a lot of other times as you're seeing these Google Alerts, it's a new thing that you didn't know, and it allows you to learn and stay current. Some of the things you might want to follow. Oh, well, first of all, let me back up for a second. To go there, it's just google.com/alerts. And you just put in your Gmail username and password, and you can tie that to your Gmail account. Now, what are the keywords that you might want to follow? You want to follow things that have to do with the technologies you care about, and or the companies you care about, and or the people you care about. So any of those or all of them will allow you to stay on top of the things you care about. So first of all, you might want to put one in with your name. Now, not just, if your name's John Smith, you'll probably get lots and lots of hits. But if I'm Keith R. Parsons, which is different than there's an atheist out there who's Keith Parsons, and there's a cricket player named Keith Parsons, and I was getting a little tired of seeing all of theirs. So I kind of made it a thoughtful, stopped and said, I want to be from now on the internet, I will always be Keith R. Parsons. So then in the future I can search on that. So my Twitter name's Keith R. Parsons, and my Facebook's name's Keith R. Parsons. And I stick the R in there as unique. I still follow Keith Parsons, and I kind of follow along with the cricket player and the atheist and with their life. And every now and then my name pops into one of those. But under Keith R. Parsons, whenever that one pops up, it always has something to do with me. So yeah, I know there's the whole ego thing that goes along with Google, but it's a way to track and see, anytime someone mentions you, you can find it. I've found my name being mentioned in all sorts of places I would have never thought to look. Other people's blogs, emails, etc. Anything that gets posted that Google can search on. Of course, I search on Wireless LAN Professionals to see if anyone's talking about professionals in the wireless LAN. That's why the name of the website's wirelesslanprofessionals.com, and I want to see if that ever gets pulled up. Anything that has to do with wireless LAN. So I search on wireless LAN, Wi-Fi, WLAN, Y-Fi, because some people spell it that way. And then I list all the vendors that I work with, each individually. And then if there's anything that Air Magnet pops up, or Aruba, or Cisco, or Aerohive, or anyone that I'm working with, I have those pop up. Now, sometimes their press releases will be the first thing that comes up. Other times it'll be other companies working with them, and it gives me a little edge. So when I'm talking to people, I understand what's going on in their industry. Of course, 802.11 is another good one. If you want to track specifically 802.11.n or transmit beamforming or any of the words that you'd like to see it happen, you can track those as well. So in this episode, we covered 5 ways to stay current with wireless LAN technology. Talked a little bit about Twitter. And you can go on the website, and there's a Twitter follow list there. Blogs, and again, you can go to the website and in the show notes check the blogs that I follow. forums, and we recommend that the CWNP forum is one, and AirMagnet and some others you want to look at, RSS, and Google Alerts. It was kind of a quick little podcast for the day. I think we're only up at around 15 minutes or so, but I hope you will take the time with the rest of the podcast time that you might have dedicated to tracking this to go to the show notes and to click on a few things. Start your own process of learning where you can track down and see the latest and greatest in the updates that are coming down. So, if I made any mistakes and I missed anyone either on the Twitter list, if you'd like me to add you to the follow list, go ahead and send me an email, keith@wlanpros.com, and I'll update the website accordingly, either Twitters or any blogs that you think we should be following as well. Thanks for your patronage, and if you're interested in being included in our upcoming monthly newsletter, be sure to register with our double opt-in mailing list. It's up on the top right-hand corner of the website. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Wireless LAN Weekly, a podcast focused on the needs of wireless LAN professionals. We look forward to your feedback. Please leave your comments at the bottom of the show notes, or email feedback on the show can be sent to feedback@wirelesslanprofessionals.com. If you'd like to leave a voicemail feedback, just call 24/7 and leave a message at 1-801-481-9018. Until next time, this has been another production of wirelesslanprofessionals.com, a place to educate, inform, entertain, and inspire.